Hello and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Prashant Pavani. I hope you all are doing good, my dear friends. Today we are going to talk about a very unique topic. It's called noise pollution in our country. Now, we have talked about wastewater management, we have talked about air quality, drinking water, solid waste management, energy management, but this topic is a topic that is generally speaking underestimated in our country. The threats that are associated with noise pollution, we are ignorant about it, and this is the main reason when we talk about healthy life, or when we talk about our smart cities, when we talk about a conducive good environment that is supporting this whole ecosystem, we don't take noise pollution into consideration. And it is a very important, you can say, sphere, or very important, you can say, branch when it comes to productive, healthy, good lifestyle. When we talk about good living standards, when we talk about it, it is very important that we take noise pollution into consideration as well. I'm sure, just in case if you find a question pertaining to public health, and if you just add one or two points about noise pollution or issues associated with noise pollution. We know that recently Government of India has launched Ayushman Bharat. You are going to find questions on Ayushman Bharat. You are going to find questions on, you can find questions on curative side and preventive side. And when it comes to preventive side, we generally speaking talk about providing medicines and good hospitals and other things. Insurance is a thing as well. A good lifestyle is one of the most important thing. We are heavily promoting yoga. We are heavily promoting traditional way of life, making sure that we are not spending too much time in front of our screen and other things. At the same time, this noise pollution topic is a topic that is underestimated, and generally speaking, that's what I have observed. It is totally ignored too. So today we are going to educate ourselves on this particular topic, and World Health Organization has in fact launched guidelines as well for noise quality. Here you can see a graph on your screen. Let me zoom it up for you guys. So here you can see a blue line, and it is a line that is indicating weighting, right? Weighting is represented by blue line on this graph that you can see on your screen, and here you have some standards or some limits. So when it comes to our bedrooms, particularly in night time, the voice exposure should not cross 30 dBA. A stands for this A weighting. dB is of course decibel. 35 is a good range for a classroom to allow good teaching and learning conditions. And it's very surprising that an individual's annual exposure to noise can also be calculated, and if a person is staying below 40 decibel A throughout the year, or annual average is below 40, then it's fine. If it is above 40, then there are high chances that that person may have some sort of health issues. That person is or will become vulnerable to health issues. Now, when it comes to noise pollution, I'm sure many of us, the first thing that comes in our head is Indian roads, right? Uncontrolled and annoying horns are honking most of the time throughout the day, right? In fact, in metro cities, you hear this horns honking in the night time as well. Then we have airports which are not far. Then we have trains, and so many things are going on around us. And as I told you, we are ignorant about the fact that noise pollution or exposure to this high level of noise pollution can cause short and long term health problems, tinnitus and hearing loss, cardiovascular effects, and psychophysiological effects as well. Now, we have an organization in our country called FEDI, and FEDI has done extensive research on noise pollution. FEDI stands for Foundation for Evidence-Based Development in India. Now, as per FEDI as well, the biggest culprit is Indian road. The biggest noise pollution is coming from Indian roads, and the biggest contributors are, of course, vehicles. Nowadays, we find too loud, too annoying and loud horns are fitted in most of the vehicles, and there is no limit as well. No one is coming out with anything. You have limits on your books, but when it comes to your vehicular horns, right, you have some limits. But these manufacturers, they are not taking any sort of responsibilities at all, right? In fact, they are giving louder and louder, this noise polluting or noise pollution creator horns. Loud horns are fitted in motorcycles, and nowadays, you have this various different vehicles, three-wheelers and four-wheelers, used by transportation organizations or people who are in this transportation business. That's what I have observed. They are using two loud horns, and they are very annoying, and they are quite disturbing as well. The other thing is these horns, right? Sometimes you find this uniquely shocking sounds. They are producing this uniquely shocking sounds, and I'm sure we all are, a victim of this thing. We have been through this thing, that sometimes you find particularly teenagers, for them it's a bit of fun, but for an elderly person, it can turn out, it can cost that person's life as well, because many times what they do is, that's what I have seen, that they will tailgate a person, and then they will suddenly blow this big horn, this surprising, uniquely shocking sounds that are created by these horns, and it will basically frighten or surprise the person who is right ahead of that vehicle. So we need to ban all these things, and then you have this bunch of morons as well on our roads. They have this habit. I'm sure you know this thing, that they have this habit of continuously, pressing this horn button, and without, even if there is no necessity of honking these horns, they're continuously doing this thing. It's become a sort of bad habit. We are addicted to this thing, I believe, and it's not just on our roads. It is in residential area as well. Then we have this vegetable vendors. Then we have some other, advertisements. This particularly in this era, or this phase of elections, we have various different rickshaws. They are carrying this big, speakers, and then you have this very sharp, annoying recorded messages. They are continuously repeating this thing, and scrap dealers and donation seekers, and there are so many people. They are contributing in this noise pollution in our neighborhood. So it's a totally unhealthy thing. We need to do something about it, and there are two ways that FEDI has suggested. One is reduction or controlling this noise from its very source itself, and the second one is effective shelter, or coming out with some noise absorption techniques. And now when we enter a cinema, you find the wall of cinema are having some sort of small holes, just like a sponge. They have these holes because it's a very good way of absorbing sound. You find this in radio studios and other studios as well, and we have this technique. Then you can have trees as well. Trees are very good noise absorbers. We find that this is one of the reasons why we find greenery around airports. You have lawns and you have this trees, because they can absorb this loud sound of coming out of these aircrafts. One step that government can take, state governments as well as central government, that they can instruct these automobile manufacturers to standardize honking sound levels within a threshold limit. The most important thing in our country that we need is behavioral change. When you are applying for your vehicular license, at that point of time, then we can have this sound detectors. We can have so many things. Today this thing is possible, but as I told you, this is a subject that is not that much talked about, or it's underestimated, and this is one of the reasons we have not worked out anything on this thing. But in terms of your public health, this is a very important topic, I believe. Establishing specific areas like silence zones nearby schools, hospitals. You have universities, campuses, and other places nearby temples or religious places. All these places we can have some sort of silence zones. So we can do these things, and there are some noise absorption techniques as well. We can have curtain walls for homes and balconies. We can have these angular features in our building designs and all these things. But most important thing is behavioral change. So this is the only solution that we have at present, right? There are a few things that we have to live it on ourselves. We need some creative people who are working in this area, right? People from FEDI, they can come out with some good noise reduction techniques, and I think that's everything regarding this topic. Now let's move on, dear friends. We have some important news items to go through, but before that I would like to inform all of you that if you are preparing for UPSC Civil Services Examination, then we have a dedicated pen drive and tablet course for UPSC Pre and Mains. It will cost you 22,500 rupees only. If you compare this price with the traditional coaching classes, then you pay somewhere around 2 lakh rupees on an average. And the good thing about our pen drive and tablet courses is that you can watch lectures as many times as you like. You can watch them at your own time rather than following someone else's schedule. You can download the PDF of today's lecture from my FB page and Twitter handle. Now we have a news item coming from Jammu and Kashmir. Urban local body elections concluded peacefully. So it's a great news in itself that no untoward incidents, major untoward incidents were not reported from this state of ours, Jammu and Kashmir. It's a border state, and we know the things that are going on in Jammu and Kashmir. 422 wards in total went through this polling phase. They are from these three regions, Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh. 32.2% voter turnout was recorded in 18 wards of Kupwara district of Kashmir division. Jammu division, the polling was held in 238 wards, which included 153 wards in Jammu, 59 in Rajouri and 26 in Poonch districts. 64% polling was recorded in 153 wards, whereas 81% was recorded from 59 wards of border district of Rajouri. So far, as I told you, things were quite peaceful, so no major untoward incident was reported. So that's a good news. Moving on to another item, it's a very important news item for you guys, right? Most of you are preparing for Civil Services Examination, and here you can see Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacted with probationers, right? IPS probationers of 2017 batch, and the Prime Minister talked about important role played by, or the importance of Indian police services or policing in general. What we need is preventive police, right? We need a friendly police, a sensitive police that is, friendly towards people. Sadly speaking, we don't find this thing with our police, right? And this is applicable all across the board. The biggest problem is political control over our police department. There are a few countries out there in the world, like I know about UK, and there are so many other countries as well, where political interference is not present at all in day-to-day operation of policing. They are free to decide, right? They have their rule book, and they are responsible to that rule book, and they are responsible to the citizens of their respective countries. And here what we find is that even if you are honest, even if you have, it's a very challenging as well as the biggest adventures that you can see, you can come across. You will find it in Indian Police Service. I'm not demotivating you guys. Of course, you need to prepare yourself from now on, and there are so many good examples as well. Then out there, you have Vijay Kumar, you have Prakash Singh, you have Julio Ribeiro. There are so many names out there. Good police officers. Kiran Bedi is there. And there are other as well. I forgot the name of lady officer from Karnataka. She exposed this Jayalalitha's Shashikala's this whole facilities that she used to get in jail. So I think D Rupa, all right, Madam D Rupa. So you have so many good police officers out there. You need to take inspiration from all these police officers. And policing is one of the most important thing, because when a person, a citizen, when he or she is not finding any help at all, right? The last door that person will knock is, or the first door many a times, will be the doors of police officer or police department. And if help is not, delivered to that person who is in desperate need of this help, then that person will lose the whole faith on the whole system. Apart from that, Prime Minister also talked about good governance. He talked about discipline and conduct, women empowerment, forensic science, and he also recalled the sacrifices of over 33,000 police personnel who have passed away till our independence. From independence till now, we have seen 33 police officers. They have lost their lives, and on an average, we find that 6 police personnel, they lose their life every single day. We lose 6 police personnel. So if you compare this with army, and if you compare this with our defense services, then the number of police personnel is quite high. So we need to train them, and we need a more friendly and more 21st century police services in our country. And I'm sure many of you will join this IPS services, and you will do everything that is possible, everything that is necessary to make sure that our country becomes more democratic. President of our country, Sri Ramnath Kovind is in Tajikistan, and the capital of Tajikistan is Dushanbe. Keep this capital in your mind. There are high chances that you will find a question, or you can find a question about Central Asia, this country, Tajikistan. Then you have Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. All these countries are part of Central Asia. Central Asia was in news many a times in recent past. So make sure you have a clear picture in your head about the map of this region or this Central Asia. Now, Ramnath Kovind has said that we are going to offer $20 million grant to Tajikistan, and we have also signed MOUs in the field of political relations, strategic research, agriculture, renewable energy, traditional medicine, space technology, youth affairs, culture, and disaster management. Moving on to another item, United Nations is in news, and we have United Nations Secretary General, and we have a President of United Nations as well. So the President is Maria Fernanda Espinosa, and she has said that when it comes to sustainable development goals, India is one of the most important country, and one of the reason is that 18% of global population is living in our country alone. So we are talking about, roughly speaking, 1/5, isn't it, sustainable development goals. If India achieves SDGs, then the world will get a big boost. It will be a big boost for the whole world. And I have a question for you guys. Can you give me the year by which we have to achieve this SDGs, that is Sustainable Development Goals? We have 193 member countries in United Nations, and we have the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. You have no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being. You can add sound in this one, noise pollution, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industrial innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities. Again, you can add sound pollution in this thing, or noise pollution in this. Sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production. Again, you can add sound pollution in this one. Climate action, you can add here to life below water, life on land, peace, justice and strong institution, and partnership for goals. All these are sustainable development goals. And if you observe all policies of various different countries, in fact our country as well, you will find that the big umbrella or lighthouse, this SDGs are working as a lighthouse for all the policies in our country. Now we have a good news that Nobel Prize for Economics has been given out, and William Nodos and you have Paul Roma from United States. Their work, William has worked in the field of climate change, and how climate change impacts economy, and how technology can impact or is affected by, or economy, how economy is affected by technology, has been worked by Paul here. So both of them are awarded with this Nobel Prize for Economics. Moving on to another special topic of the day. It is about water and safety in our country. Now recently central government has declared this thing, that it is leveraging, it is collecting funds to shore up resources for maintenance, safety, revamp of various different dams in our country. For this we have 2 different phases. In first phase, we would require 3,466 crore rupees. We are going to look after our 198 large dams throughout the nation, and this project is called DRIP, Dam Rehabilitation and Improvement Project. Remember this full form, DRIP, and the funding or 3 by 4, this 3/4 of funding is going to come from World Bank. The other thing is when it comes to water, we know that water is life. We also know that we are going through this phase of climate change. Global warming is something that is not new to us. We are also aware about this change in rainfall pattern we find in the same season. A few states of our country, they are going through this drought season, and a few states are going through this floods. So because of this paradox of variation that we find, we need at present, the need of the hour is to have an annual water report. Just like our economic survey, we need a proper water survey as well. In total, we have some 5,264 large dams in our country. We have 437 under construction dams. We have some 200 dams in our country. They are more than a century old. So we have this variety of dams as well. And even though we have 5,264 large dams in our country, even today, irrigation facility, is something that is suboptimal. We have 50% of our agriculture, approx 50% plus agricultural land of our country is entirely dependent on rainfall. And rainfalls are getting more and more erratic. Recently, government came out with this Dam Safety Bill as well, 2018, and it is talking about National Dam Safety Authority as well. The main objective is to prevent dam failure and to optimize irrigation potential. In phase 2 of this DRIP, we are going to cover another 700 dams, and this will cost 7,000 crore rupees. The most important thing is that now we can deploy all this latest IT technology. We can have this monitoring, with modern sensors and instrumentation, and we can have the silt management and regular surveillance, and all these things are need of the hour. And the destruction that a dam failure can cause, it can destroy thousands and thousands of people. It can destroy our natural resources, it can destroy our ecosystem. So it's a very important topic, and these are the steps that are taken by Government of India. So that's everything in today's discussion, dear friends. I will see you tomorrow. Till then, enjoy your studies. God bless you all. Jai Hind.